this video, we will discuss new criticism. This American school was focused on reading poetry and giving critical attention to text. So new criticism is also a reading practice. Similar to practical criticism, new critics were interested in what is on the page. In other words, the textual details of the text. A group of poets and academicians, including John Crowe Ransom, Cleanth Brooks, Robert Penn Warren, contextualized the ideas of practical criticism. After Ransom's 1941 book titled The New Criticism, they were called New Critics. Another influential text by Brooks and Warren, titled Understanding Poetry, published in 1938, argues that poetry has its unique literary language, and the task of a critique is to capture the spirit of the original. One should avoid paraphrasing because putting a poem in non-literary language would be to move away from its special properties. There is a possibility that a literary text might showcase the personality of the writer or his/her emotions. But will you consider that literary text a good work? Probably not. T.S. Eliot, in his essay titled Tradition and the Individual Talent, published in 1919, argues that good poetry does not give any attention to the personality of the poet and his emotions in favor of artistry that keeps the reader's attention on the text. With this, we can say that early 20th century criticism focused on the text and the quality of the text. Talking about the quality of the text, T.S. Eliot once said, "A play should give you something to think about. When I see a play and understand it the first time, then I know it can't be much good." So we can say, according to T.S. Eliot, a text is a good text if it is a difficult text. Now, we will look at T.S. Eliot's theory of impersonality in detail. Eliot states that poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion. It is not the expression of personality, but an escape from personality. So an autobiographical literature is not a good literature, according to the theory of impersonality. Now, we will see how the theory of impersonality is applicable to Thomas Hardy's poem, The Darkling Thrush. Darkling means of the darkness and metaphor for the end of days, and thrush is a bird that speaks of hope, joy, and change. We find an antithesis in this poem and the chiaroscuro effect, which means the play of light and shade. However, the poem is a great example of poetic escapism. This poem symbolically mourns the passing of an era. Hardy feels hopeless, but he uses the word all mankind. The frost is personified into ghost. So we can say that Hardy is not conveying his own emotions and personality, but creating a work of art to send his message to his audience. Now, we will discuss two literary fallacies posited by Wimsatt and Beardsley in two related essays titled The Intentional Fallacy, published in 1946, and The Affective Fallacy, published in 1949. The arguments presented in these two fallacies are closely in line with practical criticism and new criticism. In intentional fallacy, Wimsatt and Beardsley argue that there is no place for biography or other speculation, though we know that author is the designing intellect. So the bottom line is that we must not confuse the author with the voice of the poem. We must appreciate text for its own inherent quality. In the affective fallacy, Wimsatt and Beardsley argue the reader's response leads to the confusion what the poem is with and what the poem it does. Wimsatt and Beardsley warned us that we need to distance ourselves from emotional responses in favor of objective analysis based on the actual text. This is all for this video. We will discuss historicism and materialisms in the next video. Thank you for watching.